start by saying like how I had a lot of different ideas when I first when I first tried to come up with a topic. And I had all kinds of ideas, like I wanted to know how the human brain works and why it works that way and why it makes us do certain things. But then I also wanted to learn about human interaction and why we interact that way and how that changes us. But I knew that whatever I wanted to do something that affected people globally. So I combined all of those things and I came up with the title Life After Prison because it's something that people deal with daily and it's all around the world. And it affects people psychologically and I don't know, it just affects everyone in a different way. So I felt that the biggest reason why I chose the topic was because after the first skills training session, I went home and I started to research and I immediately fell in love with it, and it was mostly because it delved so deep into like lots of different topics. You learn about how the ex-offender feels, and you learn about the way society views different people and why they view them like that. But it also makes you think about what you think freedom really is and why you appreciate it and why those people that have been in prison and come out appreciate it so much more. So I felt that before I talked about life after prison, I had to learn about life during prison, and I thought the best way to do this was to put yourself in the person's shoes and try to sort of think about it that way. So imagine you go into sort of a store and you steal a candy bar and you think, oh, no one saw me, I can just go home, and you get caught. And it was like, and then your whole life spirals into this goes into this downward spiral because there's nothing you can do about the charges that you have to face. So you're taken from sort of your comfortable home and where you can do whatever you want and put into this place where you have to ask to get a drink of water. And I suppose when you say young offenders institution, people think about how it's kids, so it's not as tough as I suppose a real prison. But that's actually, I don't know how long it is, that's actually one of like a typical young offenders room. You either get that or like a room that's not too much bigger than sort of this, and you sort of have a bed in the corner. So it's just as tough as like a normal prison. And when you're not in your room where you spend about 14 hours of your day, you're in a yard that looks somewhat like that, and I don't want to mess with any of those people. So I thought it is a scary experience, and no one should go through that. Well, they should because they've done something bad, but you know what I mean. And usually when they're about to release, they get about a month's notice. So imagine this whole month after you've been told the dreams begin. So you dream about going to school and going to university or whatever. The kids are usually about 17 to so they dream about going to university, and basically they just want to be successful once they get out and really send their life in the right direction. But most of the time they find that when once you're let out, that's not what you really face. So then I sort of tried to narrow it down a little bit and think about different aspects of life after prison. So you've got work to start with. So a lot of the time they want to sort of do their own business, and I got the chance to speak to an ex-offender, and he talked about when once he was told that he was going to be released, he started planning all kinds of things, and that whole time actually that he was in that, he wanted to become something and do something with his life. Once he came out, he didn't really get a chance to do that, mostly because people don't want to give ex-offenders a chance. So actually that's a graph of sort of different jobs and different countries and how often they give people that have had that have been in prison a chance to sort of recreate their life. So it gets slower as you go along. So cleaning, you think maybe is sort of the stereotypical thing to think maybe they don't really care who's working for them, but it's quite low to begin with, so they really are not given a chance. And then you think about school, and I read an experience while I was doing some research where a 17-year-old boy, while he was in prison, he wrote to university and explained his situation and told him explained how he would like to apply. And they accepted him, but after he came out and he was ready to go into university, they didn't accept him because they didn't think he was in prison. And then you think about relationships, so family, friends, and family usually accepts you right back in because they're family. But I sent a questionnaire out to about 200 people, and of those 200 people, it was 97% wouldn't be friends with you after you've been in prison, just because they feel that you might be dangerous to them instead of, I don't know, sort of being the same person you were when you went in. And just society in general, you're viewed differently. You don't get work because people don't want to work for you. People don't want you to work for them. I don't know, because they're scared you might steal, or you might help them if you sort of had like a bad day or things like that. And I didn't put a side in for this, but does anyone have any questions?
Isn't like the whole reason of prison to bring a person back into society, and the reason why people who've been in prison go back to prison is because they're not given a chance? Isn't that taken into view? So going to prison, you just come out as if you just go back into it because you're not given a chance to rebuild your life, which is what prison is kind of about, and teaching you a lesson that if you obey the law, you've got a better chance to live. So they want to prove themselves when they get out. Did any of them feel like the whole system was unfair? And that could stop them getting a job? Or?
Yeah, it's not really. I suppose that's the thing. It's not really the system that's stopping them from getting a job. It's more just society in general. People don't want to hire someone like that. And I do understand what you're saying about how prison is supposed to be about sort of helping someone to change themselves and become safer to the rest of. I don't know. I know what you mean, but I suppose the bottom line is that prison's not really doing that, and it's more forcing someone to hate the system.
Were you focusing on society's attitudes towards the offenders, or on the offenders, what they thought about people's attitudes towards them?
More towards society, because I felt that I wanted to know how they view different people.
Yeah.
And after I chose ex-offenders in particular, I thought obviously how they felt about society, but more I tried to think more about how society felt about them.
So what type of people did you pick to ask a questionnaire to?
So I did 15 to 25-year-olds.
Yeah.
And they all had sort of the same opinions. So then I thought about people a bit older than that.
Mm-hmm.
So went up to about 40, and most of them had different opinions to those that were younger. So they felt that people that have been in prison are dangerous, but I think perhaps they thought that they could handle themselves around that kind of person, so they didn't need to.
Well, they don't have the same fear factor.
Yeah.
Was there a difference between like male and female views? Did you look into that?
Boys and men were more like sort of okay with the idea that someone would be in prison. I don't know if it's because of the fear factor as well, or if it's just that gender is the same.
Interesting.
I was going to ask, you looked at Britain, Australia and Canada. Now, were there any differences between the countries' attitudes to? Was Canada, for instance, more liberal in their attitudes to prisoners, ex-prisoners?
Yeah, it's sort of stereotypical, because I suppose people always say how the Canadians are very nice people, and they did seem to be more liberal once you look into like the once I did some research, I realised they were more liberal with these people. Like, sentences weren't as harsh to begin with, and once someone came out, they were sort of just welcomed right back into society, pretty much.
So population's not as dense, is it, in
That's
Canada?
Did you look at the attitudes of people with different types of crimes as well? So was it different for a burglar to a
Murderer?
Yeah, when in the questionnaires, you one of the questions was, do you think that these crimes are serious? And they were asked to tick boxes, and there were a number of boxes, and one of like graffiti, people seem to didn't think that was a problem, and that's what a lot of people were going, like young offenders or stealing and things like that, and that seemed to be okay. So like I suppose society in general doesn't see that as a problem. Like it's but once you told someone that someone had murdered someone, would you like to be friends with this person? Obviously it was a no.
Yeah. I can see that.
I mean, it seems very obvious to think so. What did you learn, do you think, was the...
Video. I learned. I feel like I learned more about how to. I feel that I value freedom more now
That's interesting.
because you can sort of overlook the fact that you can get up and go to the toilet when you want. But when you think about people that can't do that because of something they've done in their past, you sort of start to value it a bit more.
Was
That's
there anyone
very
that,
interesting.
was there anyone that you wished you could have talked to find out what?
Yeah, I did want to speak to a parole officer because when I spoke to the ex-offenders, they said that they felt that the parole officer was not on their side, like they wanted them to go back to these places. So I wanted to speak. I did want to speak to the parole officer if I got a chance to.
I guess you get different types of parole officer.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much.